So I've never really done anything like this before. So if I look a little awkward in front of the camera, it's because I am. I don't like being social. In fact, well, okay, I like being social. I don't like putting myself out there and letting everybody know what's going on with me. Besides my parents and my husband and his parents and a couple really close friends, nobody even really knows what we're going through. So I guess I'm going to give you a little bit of my backstory, and then I'll tell you why I'm here right now making this blog. So my husband and I got married in August of 2014. We decided to wait about a year before we started to try to have children. I've always wanted children. I'm 32, by the way. I've always wanted babies. I knew that being a mom was what I needed to be. That was like my purpose in life, was to be a mom. So in June of 2015, we decided to start trying because I said, what if we can't, or it takes a while or something like that. I really didn't think that there was going to be an issue because I've never had any problems. My period's always been regular. Nothing's been out of the ordinary. But just to be safe, I wanted to start sooner rather than later. So we started in June 2015, and to our surprise, we got pregnant the very first time we tried. And I kind of freaked out. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not ready. I didn't think it was going to happen. But, I quickly got over that, and we were really, really, really excited. We discovered that I had a blighted ovum when I was 13 weeks pregnant, and I had to take those lovely pills to miscarry. I don't really think I had a blighted ovum because I never, ever had an ultrasound before that. No doctor had given me an ultrasound. I remember going in for my 8-week appointment and saying I was having really bad cramps. And they said, oh, that's normal. Don't worry about it. And I said, well, I don't think it's normal. I said, I think something's wrong, and I really want an ultrasound. And the doctor told me, oh, well, we don't do ultrasounds here like that in the United States. If you want ultrasounds where they do them all the time, you should go someplace like Japan. They're not routine here in the United States. So that was my first clue that this guy was crazy. Like, you get ultrasounds here in the United States. So he didn't give me an ultrasound. And I didn't get another ultrasound or any ultrasound until I ended up in the ER because I started spotting. So, of course, when I went to the ER and they did the ultrasound, they saw that there was just a sac. My HCG was normal. It was really high. I don't remember the numbers, but it was exactly where it should be for 13 weeks pregnant. I had a belly already. I had already gone maternity clothes shopping with my mom. I was showing. I had just told a couple of my cousins the night that I started spotting. So it was really kind of a surprise. I wasn't expecting it. I had gone through a bunch of morning sickness, and I was throwing up, and it was just awful. And then everything kind of just disappeared. And then I started spotting. Like I said, I went to the hospital, and they said, you're miscarrying. So we lost the baby. And I waited a couple months for my periods to get back to normal, and didn't think we were going to have a problem because we got pregnant so easily the first time. Well, after those first couple months, nothing happened, and we were trying, and nothing happened, and nothing happened, and nothing happened. 6 months later, nothing happened. 8 months later, nothing happened. So I was like, this isn't right. We need to go someplace. So I went to a reproductive endocrinologist who basically told me, well, you haven't been trying for a year yet, so I can't really give you any sort of diagnosis. So basically told me to, ran a whole bunch of tests. Everything came back normal. Basically told me to keep trying for a couple more months, and then once a year was up to come back in. So, those few months went by and nothing happened. I went back in, and they gave me the diagnosis of unexplained infertility. The doctor also told me that because we had been trying for a year with nothing, that our chances of conceiving on our own was 2%. Yeah, 2% a month is what our chances were or are of conceiving on our own. that was pretty scary. If you've been through that, I'm sure you know how devastating it is to hear that. And it kind of made me angry because I waited a full year for somebody to say this to me that they could have said months ago, and I could have started doing something beforehand. But anyways, 2%. Once we heard that, I was pretty much like, okay, well, we need to do something about it. I wasn't quite happy with this doctor, so we switched to another place, and we started doing IUIs. So then I don't know if you get these lovely little things. This is a gonal F pen. Oop, I lost the lid for that, and now there's a needle sticking out. So these injections are really fun. I do them all the time. Or I also have some other goodies over here if I can find them. My Femera, because, you know, Clomid was just horrible, and I gained a whole bunch of weight with it, and I didn't produce any extra eggs. I just had my 1 extra egg a month. Yeah, that was awful. So they switched me to Femera, and that's what I take now. And then the wonderful little trigger shot to make me ovulate. We've done 2 IUIs so far with no luck. We went through our 3rd cycle to do our IUI. They upped my dose of gonal F, and turns out I made 7 follicles. That was kind of awesome because the first 2 IUIs I'd only made 1 follicle, so it really wasn't, you know, it really didn't increase our chances that much. But this time I made 7 follicles, and they canceled my IUI, so I was pretty bummed about that. They said that our chances of having multiples was too high, which I don't think it was, because if our chance is 2% anyway, what is it, 14% chance of having 1 baby now? So they canceled the IUI and had me trigger and told me not to have sex for 7 days. Well, my husband and I decided we're having sex. So we basically had sex every single day, and now I am 2 days past ovulation, and I'm really, really, really hoping that maybe we'll get 1 baby out of these 7 eggs. And even if we get more than 1, I'm totally fine with that. But that pretty much brings me to why I'm here and starting this blog. Number 1, I'm kind of excited to see what happens with 7 eggs. But number 2, it's been 2 very long years going through a lot of stuff that just really sucks, and it takes a toll on your marriage, and it takes a toll on you emotionally and physically and mentally, and it's just exhausting. And I've learned a lot over the past 2 years about my body and medicines and doctors and what's right and what's not right. So basically, I wanted to do this because I figured if there's anybody out there, even one person that has any questions or that I could help by letting them know that they're not alone in this, I wanted to do that. And I don't know if anybody's even going to watch this, which is fine. It kind of makes me feel better just to talk about it anyway. But this is just my story, and I guess I'm just going to keep making some blogs about, you know, sex with your husband with infertility and how much that sucks, or your injections and how much they suck, or the side effects from the pills that you have to take, or 2 years of prenatal vitamins that cost $60 a month, or insurance that doesn't cover anything infertility wise, and all the crazy stuff that we try, because let's be real, we've tried everything. My bed that's right behind me here, I have laid with my legs up on that headboard before for 30 minutes after sex before thinking it was going to help. It didn't. But all the things that go along with infertility, you guys are not alone, and some of it's funny and some of it's heartbreaking. So this is just kind of my story about, you know, my unexplained infertility, and maybe you have something to say about it, or maybe you have a story that you want to share that you don't want to share yourself, and I would be more than happy to share it for you if you just write it down in the comments below, or any questions that you have, or basically anything. Even if you just want to vent, I'll vent with you. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So stay tuned for, you know, more videos on things that suck and things that are great, and how I'm going to turn out in 2 weeks with 7 eggs.